Good morning, Mod 130. Week 2. These are our SurveyMonkey questions. I'm going to go over 1 through 5 today. So 1 through 5, and then tomorrow I'll do 6 through 10. Okay, so Mod 130, Week 2. You should have downloaded your Week 2 objectives and questions and started working on your SurveyMonkey questions. And of course, since this is Tuesday, the first day of the week for us, for week 2, you should have posted your first question, which was sent out to you in an email this morning. Please do that today. If you want your 100% participation points, do that today, Tuesday, okay? Your first question, it's not these, it's the question I'm going to send you tomorrow, or I sent you, because I'm talking in the future past tense, but anyway. I sent you an email. You should receive it this morning. Open up that email, see that question, answer that question in SurveyMonkey today so you can get attendance. Okay? All right. So number 1. This week we are in chapters 4 and 5 in the business textbook. Okay? So those are the 2 chapters you should be reading. What is a sole proprietorship? A sole, number 1, a sole proprietorship. All right, sole proprietorship. E-T-O-R-S-H-I-P. All right, what is a sole proprietorship? Well, you can find this answer on page 75. All right, so go to page 75 with me, and we will find it. So if you look on page 75, it's going to be right here in the margin area where it has the definition of, sole proprietorship. Okay? So, the book describes a sole proprietorship as businesses owned and operated by one individual, the most common form of business operation in the United States. So it's a business owned and operated by one individual. Okay? So if it's tomorrow you go out and buy a hot dog stand and it's just you are the owner. Now you could hire people, you could have people working for you, but as far as ownership, it's just you alone. Okay? So sole proprietorship is a business owned and operated by one individual. Page 75. All right, moving on. Number 2. What is the difference between a general partnership and a limited partnership? So you can find the answer to this on page 79. So let's go to page 79. So 79, it talks about partnerships and the different types and the different aspects of it. So according to the text here in 79, it says a general partnership involves complete sharing in the management of a business. In a general partnership, each partner has unlimited liability. So in a general partnership, they have unlimited liability, each partner, but they also share in the management of it. Where a limited partnership, you usually have one general partner, and then you have a limited partner, which is a person who only invests in the company, and that partner is limited to only their initial investment as far as liability. So in other words, if they lose money, they're only going to lose their initial investment. They're not going to end up with liability. Okay? So for instance, I want to open up my hot dog stand tomorrow, and I'm going to have a friend who's going to contribute $20,000. So the hot dog stand doesn't work. She or he is only out their $20,000. They're not out on maybe a loan I took out or whatever. They don't have liability in the partnership itself. in the company itself. They just basically their initial investment. Whereas I might have liability if the company gets sued or if I end up owing money. Okay? So that's the difference. General partnership, full liability, full management. They share management. Where a limited partnership, it's only their initial investment, and they usually don't contribute management to, they usually don't have a say in how it's managed. And if there's loss, they only lose their initial investment. Okay? So that was number 2. All right, so let's do number 3. Number 3 wants to know, what is the difference between a public organization
Is that number 3?
Yes, sorry. And a private organization. All right. So what is the difference between a public organization or a corporation? Organization or corporation? I think the book is talking about it as corporations. Same thing. So let's go to page 83 for this one. Yeah, my bad. My bad. It's the same thing, but I'll write the words so you'll know. Especially those of you who want to make sure you cross all your T's and dot all your I's. Corporation.
Rather than dotting your T's and crossing your I's.
Dot your T's and cross your I's if you want to. Those of you who are the creative artsy people will do that. All right. A public corporation and a private a public corporation and a private corporation. What is the difference? Well, if you look on page 83, it talks about these 2 different types. It says a private corporation is a corporation that is owned by a few people, by one or a few people who are closely involved in managing the business. Whereas a public corporation is stock that anyone can buy and sell. So in other words, a public corporation, you hear about a company, we're going public next year. What that means is they're going to sell stock so that others can buy a piece of that corporation. Okay, whereas a private, only 1 or 2, maybe a partnership or 1 or 2 people own it, and that's it. They don't sell parts of it. Whereas a public, they'll sell shares in the company, so that other people, and it could be thousands of people who could own pieces or parts of that corporation. Okay? That's what that means. All right, so let's go on to number 4. Number 4. Number 4 asks, stock whose owners have voting rights in the corporation yet do not receive preferential treatment in regards to dividends is known as what? In other words, what kind of stock is this? Well, you need to look on page 86 for your answer. We'll go to page 86. And I want you guys doing this with me. Don't just, wait till she gets the answer and pause it and write the answer down. I want you to do this with me. That's how we learn, right? Page 86. And if you look in the first couple paragraphs, in fact, at the very top, it gives a definition of what this is. It says, common stock is where the owners have voting rights in the corporation, yet they do not receive preferential treatment regarding dividends. So it's common stock. Let me explain what that means. They don't have preferential treatment when it comes to dividends. Dividends are when the company makes money. And when the company makes money, the stock goes up and has more worth. Well, when that happens, at a certain point, they divide up that worth among the shareholder, the stockholders. Well, what that's saying is people who own the common stock don't have preferential treatment. In other words, they don't get the biggest piece of the pie. They get a smaller piece of pie. So common stock is not as good as other types of stock. So common stock has less advantage. And when it comes to divvying up the dividends or the piece of the pie. All right. But they do have voting rights, so they can have a say in how the company is run. All right, number 5. Number 5 wants to know, what is the difference between a merger and an acquisition? What is the difference between a merger and an acquisition? Okay, so this can be found on page 89. So let's go to page 89. Okay, in the text it says, a merger occurs when two companies, usually corporations, combine to form a new company. So basically, two companies combine and they're a new company now. Okay? So, two companies combine to create.
But they're not both new companies?
They create one new company now.
Oh, I get it, yeah.
New company. Okay? An acquisition has a little bit more aggression sounding to it, doesn't it? Yes. We see these in movies. When somebody buys 51% share of stock, now I own.
Now I'm controlling the
Now
company.
I'm controlling. Although that's a little bit of an exaggeration of how that would work. Anyway, an acquisition is the purchase of one company by another, usually by buying its stock. So in other words, you've heard of, a hostile takeover? That's what they mean by that. Some company goes in and buys all the stock of another company and now they own it. So it's a little bit more hostility and aggression, but it's usually another company or a company buys a large amount of stock. Stock in another. So they're similar, but one is more of an agreement between two companies to come together and become a different company, whereas this one is more of another company buys up a lot of shares of this company and basically takes it over. You know, again, we can hear that word hostile takeover in business. That's kind of what it means. And there's companies actually specialize in this. Okay. That was 1 through 5. Go ahead and work on the rest of them, 6 through 10 yourself as well. And tomorrow we'll do another video going on 6 through 10. And I'll see you next time.